All right. Hello, hello. Welcome to our live stream, Halloween for Kids at the American Center in Moscow. My name is Artie or Artem Kotov, and I highly welcome you here. As today we're going to embark on the fun journey and also a spectacular journey about Halloween. And just a few words about myself. I currently live in the state of New Hampshire. It is on the East Coast. I'm going to show you the map after. Uh, I currently work at the University of New Hampshire, where I teach a class, and of course, I love Halloween. That's why I'm here. A lot of you might remember me from my previous programming at the American Center from 2016 to 2021, and now I am here. So I currently live in New Hampshire. This is a small state on the East Coast, as you can see, and I have the map here. New Hampshire is not far away from Boston, Massachusetts. And as we are talking about Halloween today, Halloween is going to be celebrated tomorrow on October 31st. October 31st, usually in the even at night, when kids are going to trick or treat and ask for candy. Though some communities already celebrated Halloween as Halloween falls on Thursday and a lot of kids are going to school, but still some of the kids will be trick or treating tomorrow. I'm pretty sure about that. As we dive more into Halloween traditions in the US, especially among children, I just wanted to show you these two pictures that I took myself the other day. And they are in the town where I live. And the picture on the left, as you can see, there's a house, and there is a skeleton emerging from the ground. And there are also graveyard stones, as you could also see. Pretty spooky. But if we look at the house on the right, for example, that just has a jack-o'-lantern on the steps. And it's not so spooky, but it's pretty, especially in New Hampshire in the fall when we have really beautiful foliage of all colors. All leaves are turning into different colors, so that's beautiful. I actually took this picture just today, but like I decided to include this in our presentation today. And right now, we're going to talk about more of the traditions, what people do for Halloween. By the way, if you have any questions about Halloween traditions or you want to comment on something during this presentation, please let us know. Leave a comment in the chat wherever you're watching us. And the people on the other end will give me your questions and I will be answered to them. I will be answered to them at some point. So one of the traditions is pumpkin picking. Picking is when you go to a patch, for example, a pumpkin patch, and you're generally grabbing a pumpkin, for example, in our case. But you got to choose the perfect pumpkin because afterwards you're going to do something with the pumpkin. And as you can see, usually in the pumpkin patch, there are a lot of pumpkins to choose from, but people got to choose wisely in terms of the pumpkins they're getting. And as we can see here, the man in the picture is picking perfect pumpkins. In the fall, we not only pick pumpkins, but we also pick apples on apple farms. That is also a very full tradition that a lot of people are doing here in the US. So pumpkin picking. When I was in New York last weekend, I saw the ginormous pumpkins that you could see here on my screen in the pictures. Those are enormous size pumpkins I've actually ever seen in my life so far. I mean, of course, they could be bigger. Usually, the pumpkin size, the right size, is usually kind of like the smaller ones that you can also see in the picture. So those are huge pumpkins at the bottom, and above, those are smaller pumpkins, and they are more or less regular pumpkins. If you get a big pumpkin, that will be very difficult when it comes to um, pumpkin carving. Uh, to Actually, let me think. Oh, I guess it was on Monday. On Monday, I was carving a pumpkin with some of my friends, and this is the pumpkin that I personally carved. As you can see, it is not perfect. Sorry about that. I'm not an artist, unfortunately, but it's something that I tried myself. So it's actually, you cannot see this in this picture, but this pumpkin has two sides. So it means that the face is on the both sides of the pumpkin. Um, and for you to carve a pumpkin, you should first get a pumpkin, of course. Then you uh, take out all of the guts that is inside of the pumpkin. The guts is something that is inside of the pumpkin. So you take it out, you put it somewhere else. You can use it, for example, for a pumpkin pie that you will save for Thanksgiving, for example, but it's not necessary. Many people like to eat pumpkin seeds. That's also another thing that people like to do. So when you carve a pumpkin, it is very difficult to carve large pumpkins. The bigger the pumpkin is, the harder it is to carve a pumpkin. And what I mean by to carve a pumpkin is to cut the eyes for the pumpkin, the nose, and of course the mouth. And uh, many people do different designs when it comes to pumpkin carving. Then, when you carve a pumpkin, it becomes jack-o'-lantern. Jack-o'-lantern. So, what you do when you have this pumpkin is that you put a candle inside of your pumpkin. Mhm. So, and when it's dark, uh, you display the pumpkin outside of your house. You put it outside of your house, or sometimes inside by the window, so other people will see how spooky your jack o' lantern is. All right. And of course, Halloween is very famous for its costumes. And we are going to talk about the costumes right now. This is me when I was a kid, and that was one of my very first costumes. And as you can see, here I am wearing a a costume from the Disney Dumbo. I don't know if has anyone seen it before. It's a really cute animated film. Um, so that is pretty cute. Um, just wanted us to kind of like go here first. Um, when kids are dressing up in costumes in the US and in some other countries too, what they are doing is they are trick or treating. And trick or treat is the phrase that kids say when they ask for candy. Like imagine that you are going to a house dressed up in a costume. That is a requirement. You have to dress up in a costume. So you're wearing a costume, and then you are using your hands, and you are knocking on the door. Most sometimes, not always, and you say trick or treat, and then the owners of this place are gonna give you candy. And as you can see, the kids here on the ride, they are wearing pretty spooky costumes. They are wearing the skeleton costumes. but wearing a spooky costume is not a requirement during the Halloween. It's just one of the traditions. As we would see here in this slide, for example, this is the family in one of the Disney parks in the US. They decided to dress up as Toy Story characters. I don't know, has anyone ever seen Toy Story? Any fans? Personally, I love this animated film, and I'm excited for the new part to come out. And as you can see, people are wearing the Woody costume, uh, uh, aliens, the T-Rex, Mr. and Mrs. Potato, though I don't see the Buzz Lightyear, or a bag for your candy. And usually there are a lot of candy that, the children collect um, for Halloween. So be aware, and everyone should get a bigger bucket for storing the candy. This is a very classic bucket that has a jack-o'-lantern kind of like features. It is orange and it has the face, very similar to what we have seen before on a pumpkin. And of course, the person here is dressed up as a ghost, but at the same time as a witch. So those are very popular costumes too. Another cute tradition is in East Village in New York City, where there is a parade, the dog costumes parade for Halloween. And this is a recent picture, as actually was held like 4 days ago, I think. And here, as you can see, a cute corgi in the picture wearing a costume that is in the shape of a subway car in New York City. Mhm. So, for example, if you have a dog, you might even dress up your dog as a subway car, for example, from Moscow Metro, or even any other subway system in the world. So that is a pretty cute. This is one of the pictures. Of course, there are many, many more costumes that people do. The dog costume parade is very popular generally across the US, so it's not just a New York City tradition. We had one here in New Hampshire, but I was away. I was in New York City at that time. But this is not the picture that I took myself. This is someone else. If you have pets, maybe you will let me know if you would like to dress them up in a costume. I guess that could be pretty cute. And as we previously talked about, trick-or-treating tradition. Again, a trick-or-treating tradition is when the kids are asking for candy and they're being put in a bucket. And popular candy during Halloween is candy corn, as you can see here on the left, candy corn. And the reason why it's called candy corn, it is because it resembles the shape of corn kernels. Pretty similar. And here is the picture that I also found from one of the candy aisles at the grocery store here in the US. It is the display in the aisles of Halloween candy. I would say that all of them that are depicted here are very popular, and people like all kinds of candy, chocolate, gummies, lollipops, hard candy, and many, many more. Some of the candy you probably might have seen, for example, in Russia, um, like Kit Kat or Snickers, or some other bars. So they're pretty popular. Um, Yeah, so those are the candy that people buy in bulk. In bulk, that means people buy them in very big bags, for example. So as you can see, the bags are massive. They have like, for example, here it says 100 candy in just one bag. For example, here it's probably also like 100 candy, though there are smaller amounts too. And the reason why the candy are sold in this quantity is that usually the owners of the houses are buying those candy to give away to other children. For example, those are families are also buying the candy for themselves. Um, if you could let me know somewhere in the comments, what is your favorite candy if you have any? Do you like chocolate? Do you like gummies? Or do you like lollipops? Or maybe you are not, or maybe you are not the fan of the candies. Maybe you like something else. Let us know. I'm very interested to know. Anyway, so I'm excited about Halloween candy because usually there are a lot of candy around and you can eat them without feeling guilty about eating them. That's pretty cute. Though you got to remember, eat candy in moderation. Eat a little candy, not too many. Uh, Another tradition that I also wanted to tell you about is the haunted house, or sometimes a haunted experience. A haunted house or a haunted experience, it is when you go somewhere and it has different spooky characters. For example, here we can see a very spooky clown. This is a very spooky clown. And this is a very spooky jack-o'-lantern, a very massive size. Those are the pictures that I took myself, I believe, 2 weeks ago, or maybe even last week. No, 2 weeks ago, when I was visiting the Demerit Hill Farm here in New Hampshire. There is a very famous haunted overload experience there at the farm. So at first you're going pumpkin picking, then you can also buy, for example, apple cider, or my favorite ones, um, for example, apple cider donuts are also pretty cute, and I love to eat them. And uh, what else? After pumpkin picking, you go to haunted overload if you want. During the day is not as spooky as it is at night. During the day, as you can see, that was during the day because there was a kid with us, so we did not go to the spooky one. Spooky means scary. So we went there, we took pictures, we were having fun, and it was not as scary as it would be at night. So imagine if you would have seen those things, and for example, a clown when it's dark at night. And so that could be scary. But what we were doing is that we were walking during the daylight. When it's dark out, like for example at 7 p.m., usually here in New Hampshire, the sun sets down at 5:30 something p.m., 5:35 or something like. By 6 p.m., it's pretty dark outside. So when it's like about 7 p.m., this is very dark, and you are going into this haunted overload experience, and you are exploring this while it's pretty dark, and someone is running after you. So when there are a lot of like monsters and a lot of scary characters that are like touching you or running after you. So this is pretty scary. Um, uh, and that was uh, that was uh, pretty interesting. Um, all right, so this is about the haunted overload experience. And of course, there are haunted houses where you could go. And I think someone just asked me a question, and we are going to move on to questions just about in a minute or so. And I will be able to go all over your comments in the sections and answer some of your questions that we have. Haunted house is a very similar experience as just the house that is spooky. It's nothing very special about this. I did not include this here, but this is one of the experience where you just go into a house that is spooky and someone is running after you. All right. And I'm just going to move on to this slide here because I will be gradually answering some of your questions while also adding up some other information. And the first question that we have here from one of the participants in our live stream that says, "Hi Artie, can you tell us about your first Halloween? Where did you celebrate it?" Personally, I don't remember much about my first Halloween because this would be my parents who would remember this. But my first Halloween was in the US. Um, and at that time, when it was my first Halloween, my parents and I, we lived on the train as my parents worked at the circus, Ringling Brothers Circus, and then Cirque du Soleil. So we at first we lived on the train, and I believe we celebrated Halloween when there was one of the stops at the circus. So that was pretty fun and exciting. And I'm not even sure if I have pictures from that time, but this is something like I believe um, was taken when I was 2 or 3, though it looks like I was 4 in this picture. But it's really hard to judge on the age of when it was. Yeah. So I hope that answers your question. The next question that I have here is, does everyone in the US celebrate Halloween? Well, it depends. Um, I would say many people do celebrate Halloween, and you would see this generally across the country. You would see that in the stores, everything is being prepared for Halloween, usually in July or August, um, a long time before the Halloween actually happens. So that gives you the time to buy the costumes, to buy the candy, and all that kind of stuff. Um, and some families decide not to celebrate Halloween for different reasons. For example, if you're coming from another country and you've never had this tradition of celebrating Halloween, some families decide not to celebrate Halloween, though some other people decide to celebrate Halloween. So it really depends on what you personally like, and it's not necessary that everyone celebrates Halloween in the US. This is not a requirement. It's just one of the traditions that people follow. Um, Another question that we have in our chat is, how do children go to someone's house in big cities like New York City? This is actually a pretty good question. Um, it depends on the neighborhood where you live in. New York City is a very big city, different distances between different places, different neighborhoods, and really depends on the neighborhood. If you live in the apartment building, which I'm assuming a lot of people live in apartment buildings across the world. So for example, you just talk with your neighbors if they would be willing, for you to knock on their door and get the candy. But in New York City, for example, there are also communities where you can just go and walk around different houses, because New York City is very diverse city. There are apartment buildings and there are little houses too where people can go. I hope this also answers your question in that sense. What do you think will be the most popular costume this year? Hmm. This is a good question, actually. I think right now the very popular costumes for Halloween are, um, I think, Willy Wonka costumes and Oompa Loompas. I don't know if you've ever heard of Willy Wonka and Oompa Loompas, but this is from the book written by Roald Dahl that called Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I highly recommend it um, to read if you haven't yet. And what else? What other costumes are pretty popular this year? Uh, the very popular costumes are usually Mario as well. The Mario Brothers are very popular costumes, and they are always a hit every year. And Toy Story costumes are always a hit during Halloween. Though, if, for example, if you have dogs, the most popular costume, I believe, is putting a hot dog costume on you on your dog. So it's your dog becomes a hot dog. So that's a pretty funny thing. All right, I guess I also saw another question about how do you think interest in Halloween is changing these days? Is it growing or declining? Uh, well, it's hard to tell exactly how Halloween is changing these days. Uh, but it's Halloween remains very popular in the US. It's one of the most popular commercial holidays. Commercial holidays is when people are spending a lot of their money on. For example, Halloween is a commercial holiday. Um, Christmas is a commercial holiday, and Easter is a commercial holiday. Those are the three holidays that people spend a lot of money on. I believe Christmas is number one, then it's Halloween, and then it's Easter. And Thanksgiving can be partially, I believe, considered as this. So I would say it's neither growing or declining. It's just as it always has been. It's a very popular holiday, and a lot of people celebrated different ages: children, teenagers, adults, anyone. Mhm. What's the most interesting Halloween in any country? Um, I'm not sure if I understand the question 100%, but I will try to answer this question. If you are asking what is the most interesting place to celebrate Halloween, um, this is this depends on like what do you see as a celebration of Halloween. As Halloween is a very old holiday that comes from Ireland. Halloween is about 2,000 years old when it was first celebrated. It's kind of like what history tells us. So I believe it's pretty interesting to celebrate Halloween in Ireland, for example. It is not as commercialized as here in the US, for example, though the tendency is that it's pretty popular generally. All right. If you could like maybe elaborate on this question, and I will get back to you. How would you recommend celebrating Halloween in Russia? Any tips for making it fun and festive? Oh, thank you very much. This is a very good question. Um, so what you could do is I probably know that in Russia you could buy pumpkins. If you're able to buy a pumpkin or a turnip, or something that looks like a pumpkin even, uh, go buy it if you can, and carve it, make cute little faces, put it in there, and put a candle inside, and then show it to other people. You can also do the decorations, like using very similar, very simple materials. Like, for example, you can make spider webs out of paper, for example, or you can use um, some other tools for that. In terms of like making fun and festive, you can listen to songs that you can, find online. You can also watch different movies, um, uh, there are a lot of Halloween movies, like Beetlejuice, for example, is one of them. Nightmare Before Christmas. Snoopy is also popular in terms of Halloween. So uh, it really depends on what you see as fun and festive. But I would highly recommend including watching many movies. If you also like Harry Potter, make sure to include this on your list too, because it's pretty Halloweenish in that sense. All right, I hope I answered your question. Do kids dress up in costumes from games or movies on Halloween? Yes, they do, of course. Um, I have seen not that long ago that people were wearing costumes from Fortnite and Among Us. This is one of the games too. The movies, for sure too. Um, just depends on what kind of movie. Like, for example, as I said, for example, Toy Story is a animated film, also a movie. So kids love it to dress it up as those characters. Though there are a lot of more movies that you can think of. It just depends on like what movie do you like, and then you go find yourself a costume or make it yourself. The most fun part about Halloween is that people are not always buying the costumes. They're either making them on their own, or they are looking for different parts in many places. So yeah, so I can't remember any names of the movies on top of my head. I'm sorry, but I'm pretty sure that there are a lot of movies. What's the most strange Halloween celebration in any country? Hmm. This is a good question. Depending on what do you see as being strange. Uh, hmm. Strange. I would say maybe apple bobbling is when you use your teeth, and there are apples in the basin, like somewhere, like the apples are in the bucket, for example, full of water. And what you're using your teeth to get the apples out of the bucket, for example. It's pretty, I personally feel it's very unsanitary, and it's kind of icky, personally, but this is my kind of preference in terms of that. Um, all right. Are I'm not sure if there are any more questions, but I also wanted to briefly look at the comments that you wrote on our platforms. Uh, you commented on what kind of candy you like, and I see some people are saying that they love all of the candy. Well, me too, actually. I love a lot of candy, different kinds. Some people are saying I like Twix with white chocolate a lot. Oh, this is yum. Um, Some people say I like cookies. Oh, cookies are pretty cool. Yeah, I also like cookies, especially the chocolate chip cookies. Then some people are saying that they're not fun at all of candy, which is fine. For Halloween, another thing that people are trying to do when they are trick or treating is that the owners of the houses try to give something else other than candy for Halloween. Like, for example, instead of candy people. The kids might get the books or the toys or Play-Doh or stuff like this. So that is pretty fun. And I see another person wrote that they are going to be a puppet from FNAF for Halloween. Oh, that's pretty interesting. I don't think I've ever heard what FNAF is. If you could tell us in the comments what FNAF is, because I don't think I've ever heard of this. Mhm. And of course, someone commented about the houses that we have here in New Hampshire, saying that they are nice houses. They are, yeah. Um, all right. If you have any more questions at this point, here is one of your last chances to drop them in our comments on any platform wherever you're watching us today. In the meantime, I would like to say thank you to all of you who joined us today in the evening in Moscow and in the afternoon here in New Hampshire. And I hope you will have a great day, have a great night, and you will be able to do some fun. Uh, Yummy chocolate. Yeah, it is. It is yum. Mhm. All right, so a puppet from FNAF, very nice. Well, the costume of FNAF. Everyone is so excited about FNAF. I've never heard of FNAF. I should do my research. I've never heard of FNAF, or maybe I've heard of that, but like I'm not so sure what it is. But I will do this anyway. Maybe like as a final ask for everyone, could you please let us know if you are going to celebrate Halloween tomorrow? Is it part of your plan? If yes or no, just let us know. It's fine if not, uh, or it's cool. If it's a yes for tomorrow. Anyway, so thank you very much for joining us tonight with the American Center in Moscow and me, Artie. Um, Today we were talking about Halloween traditions in the U.S. among children and generally people in the US. And I hope you learned something new today. Um, and I was excited to see you all during our live stream here at the American Center online programming. And I hope to see you soon. And we'll stay. Have a great day ahead. Bye bye.